All right, welcome everyone. Today we're going to be doing exam 2. So what this is going to cover is things like temperature conversions, things like unit conversions, day supply. I believe we have a few household and metric volumes and units, basically. So it's going to be an extension of exam 1. So what we're going to do first is we are going to start with a medication that is dosed on a patient's weight. So patient's weight, that is going to be kilos. Okay. So that is the basic unit in pharmacy for anything that is going to be weight-based. So you might say that it's going to be pounds, but I would say that that is not right because most doses are based off of kilos. That's why we have to use our unit conversions. Okay, so a temperature conversion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the formula right here. This is a Celsius temperature to Fahrenheit. So what I'm going to do, because you do have to memorize this formula, I'm going to go ahead and write the Celsius to Fahrenheit formula. Okay, so what I have is degrees Fahrenheit is equal to your temperature in Celsius times 9 divided by 5 and then plus 32. Okay. So what that means is our formula now turns into 101.4 times 9 plus 32. Okay, so I'm going to do 101.4 times 9 divided by 5 plus 32. And I'm going to get 214.5 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay. Which amount indicates the correct conversion of 125 micrograms to milligrams? I'm going from micro to milli, so remind yourself, micro is 1 over 1 million, and milli is 1 over 1,000. So right there, that tells you what we need to do because there are 3 zeros additional on million, I'm sorry, micro, than there is milli. So if there are 3 more zeros, we need to move those zeros back. So starting right here, 1, 2, and 3, that's 0.125. Okay. You basically just divide by 1,000. How many tablespoonfuls are in 1 pint? So 1 pint, remember your gallon man. I'll go ahead and draw the basic gist of it. Gallon, 4 quarts. 1 quart is equal to 4 pints. 1 pint is equal to how many cups? It's 2 cups. 1 cup is equal to 8 ounce. And 130 mils. And then we need to stop at tablespoon. Okay. All right, so we basically have to work our way backwards. So we have 1 pint, which is equal to 2 cups. And our conversion between cups is 1 cup is equal to 8 fluid ounces. So 8 times 2 divided by 1 is going to tell you how many ounces you have. You have 16 ounces. Sorry, specifically fluid ounces. Now we need to go to mils. there is 1 fluid ounce, and there is 30 mils. So 30 times 16, that's going to be 480 mils. Is that where we stop? No, we need to go to TBSP. Uh, 480 divided by 15. That's our answer. If a patient takes 1 TSP, so remind yourself what TSP means. TID, how many mils will be needed for a 7-day course of therapy? Okay, so right there, teaspoon, right there, 3 times. Okay, so he takes 1 teaspoon 3 times a day. How many teaspoons does he take in a day? 3 teaspoons. And then this is our conversion, 1 teaspoon, 5 mils. So 5 times 3 divided by 1 is going to be 15 mils per day. Is that where we need to stop? The answer to that is no, because he's taking it for 7 days. 15 times 7 is 105 mils. Progesterone is available as 50 milligrams per mil. The order calls for 100 milligrams. How many mils will you prepare? Okay, so whenever you see this right here, 50 milligram slash mil, you should be reading to yourself, that means there are 50 milligrams in 1 mil. Okay. There are 50 milligrams in 1 mil. We need 100 milligrams. So you could probably tell yourself, okay, that's just 2. But I'm going to show you how to work it out in a proportion. So there are 50 milligrams in 1 mil. How many mils do you need to get a 100? It's just 100 divided by 50, which, as you know, is just 2 mLs. This drug is available 20 milligrams per mil. How many mils are needed to prepare a soak for 300 milligrams? Once again, you're going to do it the same way. 20 milligrams in 1 mil. How many mils for 300 milligrams? 300 divided by 20 is 15 mils. Okay. Prescriber ordered a dose of 60 milligrams of famotidine. It's available as 40 per 4. So 40 milligrams per 4 mils equal to 60 milligrams over x. 60 times 4 divided by 40, which is 6 mils. Okay, boiling temperature of water in Celsius. Okay, so this is one that most of you, I hope, have memorized because it's a very useful thing to memorize. So boiling temperature in Celsius is 100 degrees Celsius. Please memorize that. That might help you. A prescriber ordered a dose of 30 milligrams. The medication is available at 5 per mil. How many do we need for 30? So 5 milligrams per mil, and then 30 milligrams x. 30 divided by 5 is going to be 6 mils. Convert the following Celsius to Fahrenheit. So when going to Fahrenheit, we're going to use our that formula. So we're going to plug in our 27 times 9 divided by 5 plus 32. It's going to be 80.6 degrees Celsius. I'm sorry, Fahrenheit. All right, which equivalent is correct? Okay, so is 3 teaspoons equal to 1 tablespoon? Yes, that one is correct off the bat. So we're going to assume that all these other ones are wrong. Celsius to Fahrenheit again. So I'm just going to go ahead and plug in my temperature. 18 times 9 divided by 5 plus 32. And I'm getting 64.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay. After doing some research, you find the most cost-effective price is $7.40 per box of 100. You have $15 to spend. How many 100 count boxes you can buy? So this basically is related to that one problem we did over the Sudafed. So if we find a quantity of folders we can buy, we can't buy a partial number, and we also can't round up. So make sure you remember on this one you have to round down. So we need to look at the fact that it is, sorry, still on my highlighter, 100 folders for $7.40. On this side, we don't know that, and we do know that we have 15 bucks to spend. So it turns to 15 times 100 divided by 7.4, which is 202.7 folders. You notice that there are 100 folders for a box, so we're going to do divide by 100 folders per box. And I can tell you by looking at it right now, I'm going to get 2 point something. But remember, if you get 2 point something, you have to round down because you can't get point something of a box. We don't like to break quantities. So that's going to be 2 boxes you can buy. Normal body temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. That should also be something that you have memorized. That is going to be 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. What is the freezing temperature of water in Celsius? Once again, something you should have memorized, but it's very easy to remember. 0 degrees Celsius. Convert the Fahrenheit temperature to Celsius. Okay, so we have a Fahrenheit to Celsius. So we have Celsius is equal to temperature in Fahrenheit minus 32 divided by 9 times 5. Okay, so first thing first, we need to plug in our 64 times 5 divided by 9. So 64 minus 32 is 32 times 5, 160 divided by 9 is 17 point, we'll call that 8, okay, 17.8 degrees Celsius. A prescription for a drug contains the following sig: 1 capsule TID for 14 days. How many capsules should be dispensed? Okay, so when you're doing these problems, you need to ask yourself first, how many do they take a day? And that is going to be in this right here. So TID means 3 times a day. So they take one capsule 3 times a day. So that's 3 caps in a day. And on this side, you need to have how long they're going to take it, which is, you don't know that, and then you have 14 days. So it turns into 14 times 3, which is going to be 42 caps. Freezing temperature water in Fahrenheit, that's going to be 32 degrees. 30 milligram drug, we have it at 20 per 2. Pretty easy because we have 30 milligrams. We don't know that, but we have 20 per 2. So 30 times 2 is 60, divided by 20 is 3. This order is going to call for 5 mils of furosemide. We have it in 20 per 2. How many milligrams will the patient receive from the ordered amount? Okay, so this one's a little backwards because we have our mils. We don't have the milligrams, but we know that it is 20 per 2. So 20 times 5 divided by 2. Okay, so what is the normal human body temperature in degrees Celsius? So this one might not be one that you have memorized, but if you have your Fahrenheit memorized, you have the option of converting it. But I have it memorized. I'm going to go ahead and put 37 degrees Celsius. But if we want to start from our 98.6 Fahrenheit, we can just convert that. 98.6 minus 32 divided by 9, and we need to multiply that by 5. 98.6 minus 32 divided by 9, I'm sorry. That's going to be 37. Okay. So just remember that you memorizing those temperatures is going to help you put those conversions together. Because if you know that, so say for example, one that I memorize quite easy is freezing of water. So it's 0 for Celsius, it's 32 for water. I'm sorry, 32 for Fahrenheit. So if you have those two formulas in your head and you're saying, okay, if I check myself to make sure I got the right formula, you can say, okay, I know that the Celsius is going to be 0. It needs to equal 32. If I don't get 32, it means that I've flipped my formula. So please use that to your advantage. Memorize those numbers because it can help you. The dose is 30 milligrams. It's available as 20 per 1. How many mils are needed? Easy peasy. 30 milligrams, 20 per 1. 30 times 1 divided by 20. 1.5 mils. Patient needs an injection of a drug of 10,000 units, 250,000 per 15. Okay, 10,000 times 15 divided by 250,000 is going to be 0.6 ml. Fahrenheit to Celsius, so we need to use our 72 minus 32 times 5 divided by 9. Okay. That's going to be 22.2 2 degrees Celsius. Oh, I guess I didn't even answer that. So metric system unit of measurement for volume is going to be liter. So remember your base units. We have volume, liters, we have mass or weight, grams. All those things are important. Convert the following measurements between household and metric. Okay. First one we have is 80 mils to tablespoon. So remember the relationship between mils and tablespoon is going to be there are 15 mils in 1 tablespoon. So I have 80 mils, so I need to do 80 divided by 15. So I need to do 80 divided by 15 is equal to 5.3 tablespoon. Okay, we have mils to ounces. The relationship between those is 30 mils in 1 fluid ounce. So it literally turns to 180 divided by 30. Oh. And that's 6 fluid ounce. Mils to ounces, same relationship, so we're just going to go ahead and do 90 divided by 30, which is 3 fluid ounces. Pints to mils. Now this one might be tough because you might not know the exact relationship between pints to mils, but you do know going from pints to cups, cups to ounces, ounces to mils. So it might be a little convoluted, but you can eventually get there. So first off, we're going to go from pints to cups. So there is 1 pint, 2 cups. Okay, so right now our 1.7 pints turns into, so 1.7 pints, cups. We have our relationship, 1 pint is equal to 2 cups. So we just need to do 1.7 times 2. So right now we're at 3.4 cups. Okay. What is my relationship between cups and ounces? So 1 cup is equal to 8 fluid ounces. Going back over here, I have my 3.4 cups. And right here, I have 1 cup is equal to 30. I'm sorry, no, not 30. Is 8 fluid ounces. Okay, 3.4 times 8 divided by 1 is 27.2 ounces. So now, my last step is going from ounces to mils. So I need to do 1 fluid ounce is equal to how many mils? That's my 30. So I have my 27.2 ounces. How many mils is that? So I just need to do that times 30. So that is literally 816 mils. Mils to teaspoon. This is a pretty easy one because there are 5 mils in 1 teaspoon. So I will do 53 divided by 5. And I get 10.6 teaspoon. Mils to teaspoon. Okay. Same thing. 5 mils is 1 teaspoon, so I'm going to do 35 divided by 5 is equal to 7 teaspoon. All right, now this last one is a little tough because sometimes I encourage to use the approximate. On this one, I'm going to go ahead and say to use the approximate of there are how many mils in a gallon? There are 4,000 mils in 1 gallon. So this is an approximation. This is definitely not the exact quantity. It's like 3,986 or something like that. But it's going to make your life easy. Because if you have 10 liters to gallons, 10 liters is how many milliliters by that calculation? Well, by that calculation, there is 10,000 milliliters. And we know that by our approximation, there is 4,000 mils in 1 gallon. So that turns into 10,000 times 1 divided by 4,000, which is 2.5 gallons. Okay, so make sure you have those approximations in your head. They're going to make it easier on you. So for kilograms and pounds conversions, we need to remember the relationship because if you don't know that, that's going to be tough. So I'm going to draw my balance beam that I've been using. So balance beam means that this is the same on each side, so it's not moving, they're equal. So on this side, we have a kilo. So we have one of these, 1 kilo. How many pounds is that equal to? 2.2. Okay, so that means that there are more pounds for a kilogram. There are 2.2 pounds for every single kilo. So if I'm going from pounds to kilos, there are 2.2 lbs in 1 kilo. So do you think that I would end up with a bigger number or smaller number? If my pounds are worth less than a kilo, I'm going to end up with a smaller number, meaning that I'm going to do 3.5 divided by 2.2. And I'm going to get 1.59 kilos. Okay, so if I start with kilos, there is 1 kilo for every 2.2 pounds. So my kilos are actually worth more than a pound. So what I'm going to do is the opposite of what I just did. I'm going to do 6.4 times 2.2, which I get 14.08 pounds. So I'm just going to write them out. If I start with 42, I need to divide by 2.2. If I start with kilos, I need to multiply by 2.2, 112. Whoa. All right. Okay, and that is that. So just make sure that you understand that there are more pounds in 1 kilo. And if you have kilo, you're going to end up with a bigger number. Prescription has the following instructions: 2 caps PO TID AC. What instructions should appear on the label of the medication container? So this obviously 2 caps is capsules. PO is by mouth. TID and then our last one is going to be our AC, which is before meals. You can think of anti-consumption before meals. So is that on the thing? Yes. It's going to be option C. Celsius temperature to Fahrenheit. So if we are going to Fahrenheit, we need to do our 63 times 9 divided by 5 plus 32. 63 times 9 divided by 5 plus 32. 145 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, a prescriber ordered a dose of 300 milligrams. It's available as a 500 per 10. How many mils are needed? Well, it's in 500 per 10, and we only need 300. I don't know why I can't write threes. 300. So I'm going to do 300 times 10 divided by 500, and I'm going to get 6 mils. Boiling temperature of water in degrees Fahrenheit. So once again, this is going to be something that you're going to have to memorize. I have it in my head. I already have it as 212 degrees Fahrenheit. But for those of you who don't have it memorized, something that is easy to remember is 100 degrees Celsius. But if we need to convert that to Fahrenheit, we're going to do 100 degrees Celsius times 9 divided by 5 plus 32. And I will end up with 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay. Convert the following to a Celsius degree. So I need to do our 36 minus 32 times 5 divided by 9. And that is 2.22 degrees Celsius. Okay, we're going to convert this one to Celsius. 23 minus 32 times 5 divided by 9. So you'll notice that I ended up with a negative number. So negative usually refers to below freezing. So is -5 below freezing in Celsius? The answer to that is yes, because the freezing temperature in Celsius is 0 degrees. Okay. When converting from a larger unit, liter, so larger unit, to a smaller unit, what do we do? So we need to ask ourselves, so smaller unit is going to be milliliter, which is 1 over 1,000. And if we have that, because it's 1 over the base unit, our base unit is actually liters, so this is 1. So if you notice that the relationship to go from a liter to a smaller unit, 1 over 1,000, we need to move it 3 places to the left because we're going to divide by 1,000. Sorry, I said that backwards. We need to move it 3 places to the right. So let me write that out. So 1 liter is a base unit. So to move it to a smaller unit, because a milliliter is 1 over 1,000 of a liter, so we already have our 1,000. We're moving it to 1 over 1,000, so that'll basically just turn into 1,000 milliliters. So how do we turn 1 into 1,000? Well, we can multiply it by 1,000, or we can just move it to the right 3 places, which is 1, 2, 3, turns into 1,000. Pint to fluid ounces, so this is going to be one of those things that if you want to memorize pints to fluid ounces, it's going to help you, but I'll go ahead and work it out. 1 pint is equal to 2 cups. Okay, so we have 2 cups right now. So for every cup, we have 8 fluid ounces. So 2 times 8 is 16 fluid ounces. A prescription has the following sig. Take 1 cap QHS. How many days will this prescription last if 45 capsules are dispensed? Okay, so we need to ask ourselves, what does that sig mean? So obviously 1 is going to just be 1. Capsule. QHS means every night, because HS means hour of sleep or before bed, so you could just say every night. So if we're just dispensing 45 and they're taking 1 every night, it's just going to last 45 days. Convert the following Fahrenheit temperature to Celsius. Round the temperature to the nearest tenth of a degree. So some of you might just say like, oh, well, that's, 32. Well, you have flipped your sign. So make sure that you understand that Fahrenheit, 0 degrees, is different than 0 degrees Celsius. So we're going to convert that to a Celsius by doing Fahrenheit. So 0 minus 32 times 5 divided by 9. So we're going to end up with negative 32 times 5 divided by 9, which is negative 17.8 degrees Celsius. The metric system of measurement for length is not a mile, not an inch, not a foot, it's a meter. Millimeter, centimeter, kilometer. A prescription that has a sig that indicates place 2 GTTs OD BID. Where will the patient put the medication? So we really don't need to know the entire sig, but there is one part of the sig that tells us what we're needing to look at. That's going to be this one. So just remind yourself that we have some descriptors that we can put with the eyes and the ears, because how many of each do we have? We have 2 of each. So if we have 2 of each, we need to know which one we need to do. So we have things like OD, OS, and OU. And like in exam number 1, I told you to remember the way that you think of the left and the right, because in the biblical sense, they say that the left hand is, the bad one, or, whatever. The right hand is the good one. So left is sinister. Your right is dexter. So those words are from Latin. Don't ask me where they came from, but they're from Latin. So basically, your right is your dexter hand, and your left is your sinister hand. And then the OU, I said, was both. And you can think of unity or uniform or unify. You can think of a lot of things for both. But if the patient is going to be putting it in their OD, that's going to be their right. And what does O mean? Ophthalmic or optic, or eye. Okay? So it's going to mean their right eye, right? What mathematical operation can be used to convert pounds to kilos? Just remember, we have 2.2 of those for 1 of these. So if we're going to convert 100 pounds to kilos, how do we do that? Well, we divide by 2.2. Convert it to Fahrenheit. Okay, we have negative 15. Nope. Times 9 divided by 5 plus 32. Negative 15 times 9 divided by 5 plus 32. 5 degrees Fahrenheit. Convert the following volumes from household to metric. Okay, so I know on this one it says it doesn't really say what unit you need to convert it to. I'm going to convert everything into milliliters. Okay, the relationship between tablespoon and mils is there are 15 mils in 1 tablespoon. Ounces. 1 fluid ounce is equal to 30 mils. Okay, that is all the relationships that I need to solve all these problems. So to go from 3 tablespoons to mils is going to be 3 times 15, which is 45 mils. Ounces to mils is going to be 1 times 30, which is just 30. Okay, this one's going to be 2 times 30. This is going to be 5 times 30. And then 16 times 30. All right. We have a 125 milligram tablet. How many tablets are needed to provide a dose of 375 milligrams? Okay, so we have what we need, which is 125 milligrams, and we have oh, sorry, I wrote that wrong. So that is saying that there is 125 milligrams per one single tablet. On this side is how much we need. So we need 375. We don't know how many tablets that is going to take. So it's 375 divided by 125, which is just 3 tabs. And I think that is all. Okay, so basically the takeaway from here is to know what you need to memorize. So obviously you need to memorize the formulas for temperature conversions, but even more so, after you memorize your temperature conversion formula, you really need to memorize those basic body temperatures and freezing and boiling points. Because what those can do is it can help you identify if you're using the correct formula. Because looking at the temperature formulas, they're very confusing. You can flip the fives and the nines, you can multiply or whatever. But if you know those basic temperatures, you can sort of check your work. So it'll help you. Obviously, remember your household and metric conversions. Don't let those slip you. And yeah, just understand the relationship between how to convert the two. So I think that's all for this one. So if you have any questions, let me know. See you for the next one.